using fossil fuels. So isn't it somewhat contradictory for us to be against fossil fuels? Personally, I mean, I have a lot of awe and respect for these companies. You know, have you ever, you're driving along in a car and you think, wow, we invented this. Like, there's something incredible about the fact, about what these companies are doing insofar as harvesting energy for human use. What really gets me, though, is when they're actually, they're not just providing the things that we are demanding. Many of these companies are actively lobbying to prevent the transition to alternatives. And this includes a company like Toyota. At the same time that they produced their Prius, they were lobbying the US government against an increase in fuel efficiency standards because they were all excited about getting into the truck market in the United States. So that's what really gets me. You can't blame somebody for providing an energy source that America demands, but you can blame them for acting politically and spending exorbitant sums in order to prevent us from transitioning to alternative fuels.
Well, my question is, I feel that, but at the same time, you then went on to say that we need to do what we're doing really aggressively. And I'm just wondering, I guess, what do you mean by that? What's the real deal? What is this aggression that we need to do?
Well, I'm talking about, and what I was trying to say in 4 minutes, really, really quickly, with Lena on top of me here, was basically, first of all, the idea about frustration is an idea that you'll find on 350.org. I mean, Bill McKibben admits that, he's tried other things, he's politically frustrated, and that's what this program, in his mind, that's in part what motivated this particular campaign. So the comment about frustration has to do with the way he's even characterized things. In terms of aggressiveness, again, I don't think you've got political credibility if you're not offsetting your automobile travel and your airline travel, and you're just saying, let's get rid of these companies from our endowment. That is like a no-cost to you initiative. I just don't think you've got any political credibility when you stop at that point. You've got to do something that actually demonstrates that you're willing to put some skin in the game yourself, personally, more than marching around and asking for endowments to be divested. I just think it's really, really cheap, and it can be easily characterized, and it has already been characterized by your political enemies as, well, there they go again. I'm in an aggressive program, okay? I mean, just linguistically, maybe that was the wrong word for me to use for you. Aggressive program means you basically go deeply into investments in energy efficiency that a lot of people might look at and say, that's got a lousy payback rate. It's going to take you 10 years to recover your investment. So what? Do it.
All power to the
It's hard to decide what I want to address first. I truly believe that this is not a self-righteous or vain attempt at another college experience to be a part of something. I think many of us in the divestment team have been a part of a variety of different environmental sustainability initiatives and found that they feel great afterwards, they end with good conclusions, but then they kind of fizzle out at the end. For those of you who are on the team and the audience, who feels like this is going to fizzle out after it's over? All right, I haven't seen you at our meeting, so I won't.
Are you only talking about people on that team?
I am, because they are the ones who are a part of it right now and can understand the kind of excitement an inspiration that comes with this campaign that is not like anything else that I personally, and I won't speak for you, but I have not felt this kind of momentum or passion behind a movement that I've ever been a part of ever before. We're not just marching around demanding divestment thinking, okay, who cares if the college takes on all these extra costs and the Board of Trustees has to go through all this work and this effort and we don't have to do anything. First of all, I'd like to say that I'm spending 15 hours a week on this campaign. This is not no work, all right? Just to clarify. And this is also, as has been mentioned before, it's a communication, it's a cooperative conversation with these administrations. We're not busting into that trustee meeting on Friday at Pitzer saying, you better divest or else, and who cares what you have to do about it. We're going to go in there and try and find out what the process means, how we can help, how we can make it more feasible for the institution, and how we can get the best of both worlds out of that situation. This is not just another angry students parading around as social activists just for the sake of it. It's not about that. And divestment is not going to end here. This is not the end of this movement. By starting this movement and by participating in it at the level that we are right now, we are showing that we're ready to take on more serious actions after this. Divestment is not the last step at all.
One more question. Oh, look at that. They're so eager.
Thank you all so much for being here, and I really love the discussion of what the next steps are going to be, because this is happening. We're going to do this, I think, and even if we don't, the rest of the country is going to without us. So in terms of the next steps, I was very interested to hear Professor Asher talk about subsidies, because I read recently that the fossil fuel industries in 2011 received $523 billion of subsidies globally. And so with that sort of financial power and that sort of political power now, thanks to Citizens United and just the way the politics is going, how do we have a conversation with them? I mean, what can we do to test them and to tell them that either they need to change the way that they're doing business, because ultimately these industries and these companies exist to provide us with goods and services, but at this point in time we recognize that what they're providing for us is actually going to kill us. So how do we convince them that they need to change what they're doing, or we need to hire someone new?
Well, those are excellent questions. Let me start out by saying that it's not that the companies give themselves subsidies, the federal government gives them the subsidies for complicated reasons. Second point, we're all getting subsidies too. Norman Myers, a British academic and researcher, probably 15 or 20 years ago, pointed out that gasoline should cost $4 a gallon. 15 or 20 years ago. Today it should really cost probably something like $10 a gallon to take into account the societal costs of the various health problems, environmental problems, etc., that burning gasoline causes. So we're subsidizing ourselves financially by beggaring ourselves in health and other respects like that. So I don't know how many of you go to the gas station and see the gas is now $4 a gallon and say, damn it, I wish it were higher. I believe you. But I don't see people lobbying the California legislature to increase the California state tax on gasoline when the price of gasoline goes down. If we want to stabilize it, every time the world price of oil goes down and the price of gasoline could go down, we should increase the tax and keep it up at a fairly high level. Now, there's one more point. A lot of these hydrocarbon companies are feeling very vulnerable right now because they know they're getting subsidies, they know that those subsidies are being challenged. It's not impossible to get some voluntary environmental agreements, VEAs, which cut through all the enormously long processes to get the EPA to do something, or to get the Air Board to do something and have EPA agree with it. and have some of these companies clean up their act, holding the subsidies they get hostage in a way. So that's another wrinkle to it. But the best strategy is to reduce the subsidies. And that's a matter of lobbying Washington.
I'd encourage folks to think about snowball effects, looking back to the last large-scale divestment campaign led by students with respect to South Africa. This started very small scale, but it quickly picked up momentum when public employee retirement systems started to disinvest their money. So it started at college campuses. Then within California, for example, CalPERS, which has enormous investments for public employee retirement purposes, withdrew their money from South Africa, at which point the state of California withdrew $3 billion from South Africa. And soon after that, Republican lawmakers were tripping over each other to try and be the first to talk about the importance of withdrawing U.S. funds from South Africa. Newt Gingrich actually was in charge of that initiative. Because it was so obvious that it was in the winds, they did not, and eager to court the African-American vote, they did not want to come down on the wrong side of that issue. So snowball effects of this sort can be very important. Interestingly, just last year, for the first time, CalPERS came out with a report that attempts to apply sustainability criteria to its own investment portfolio. The combined value of these portfolios throughout the United States at all the cities and state levels and so forth is over $1.5 trillion. And so snowball effects also can be very consequential when it comes not, again, just to that direct sort of attempted financial impact on a company, but the building of political momentum so as to change the regulatory structure. ExxonMobil does embrace cap and trade. They just happen to embrace it in Europe, where the policymakers already won, and they have to do it, and they are the largest oil company.
Well, I'm afraid that's all the time we have, but can we please give a big round of applause? So a couple of announcements really quickly. This event is supposed to start to trigger conversation that can then later inform a Pomona-wide student body vote on investment in March. So I encourage you to go out to your friends and talk about both sides, all nuances of the discussion that we're going to at this event, and also the ones that came to your mind as you sat and listened. Also, I want to say that PSC has a suggestion box that you should put comments in. And don't forget to buy tickets for the James Hansen event.
And what we would really like to have students go to here is James Hansen. The tickets are nominally $10, but you can pay whatever you want. You can pay now, you can pay at the door, you can pay nothing. The important thing is, if you'd like to go to hear James Hansen, pick up a ticket. There's a place to fill in your name and tear that off and give it to me. For if you're not a student, it really will cost you $10, and it's just for that one lecture. But the tickets are available here, and I'd love to have you pick up some.
Thank you again.
I'd also like to say something really quick. Members of the Claremont College's divestment team will be outside collecting signatures, and if you're interested in getting involved with our campaign on any level, we'd love to take your contact info. Also, if you have any questions whatsoever about what we're all about, what we're doing, upcoming events, feel free to ask me or anybody sitting outside. Thanks for coming, guys.